Good night, good night. Have one time tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Sam with your spiritual. I'm here to give you a word on tonight. And blaming us is a son of Gudeon who had died. What I had talked to y'all yesterday. So this is his son. Remember I told you he had 70 sons. So this is one of his sons. And they're going to come from Judges chapter 9, verse 1 through 56. So Gudeon is dead, but now his son, Abimelech, wanted to take over. So he wants to take over and be like his dad. But Gudeon was he was a great soldier. He was a great hero. And God had sent him to help the Israelite out. So he went to his mother. He went to his mother brothers in Shammah, the city of Shammah. Had said to them into all his mother chain. So now Abimelech, asked all the citizens of Shammah. Now this is Gideon's son. This is his son, so he wants to take over. He wants to be the ruler over Israel. His daddy was. He wants to take over. He asked, which is better, to rule over you or just one man? So he said, what is better, to have 70 sons to be ruled over you or just only one? And just remember, we all kin. We all related. Some of the Israelites, the Canaanites, some of them, the Canaanites is kin to him. So he's saying we related. So just remember that. So Gudeon had 70 sons. Abimelech, he is one of his sons, and he stated, "Remember, I am your flesh and blood." So he telling them, I'm your flesh and blood. So no matter what decision they make, he want them to make a decision to make him king over Israel. So now Gideon, and he has 70 sons. And they have to decide, if they want the 70 sons, to be over them or just only one. So with Gideon's dead, Abimelech wants to take his father's place. He trying to set his plan in motion. Now he went to the city of Shammah, his mother hometown, to drum up support. That these relatives were Canaanites, and he would be glad to unite against Israel. Because his father had saved the Israelite when he was sent by God. So they give him 70 skeleton silver from the temple of Baal, and Abimelech used it to hire reckless scholars who became his followers. So now he went to his father's house. So his mom and his father still living. Now his father had multiple wives, because he also have a lot of children also. So now he went to his father's house in Oprah, and on one stone murdered his 70 brothers. So he went to his father's house, and he went and killed all 70 of his brothers. 69 of his brothers. Him with him makes 70. Now he killed all 7 of his brothers because he wanted to make sure the Israelites don't pick none of his brothers, nobody but him. So he killed all 7 of his brothers. The son of Gideon, and but Jaham, the youngest son, he escaped and he went high. So that's why he killed 69, because the other had ran and hide. So now Gideon is the son of Abimelech, and he killed 70 or half of his brothers in Oprah, and returned to Shammah to be acclaimed to king. So that's kind of cool. He really wants to be king over Israel. So he makes sure Israel don't pick none of his brothers. So he killed all 69 of them, but one got away. So then he go back to the Israel and say, he just on to me. So yeah, y'all can just pick me to be the king. So Israel is the king that was to be the Lord and not a man. So he wants to be the king, but won't the Lord. You got to have God. You got to have God, because all their king was connected, was spiritual, connected with God. And then by he done killed all his brothers. That's a red flag right there. To try to be under God. So to ensure the position reserved for God alone. And that's what they tell him now. He killed all. Now he done killed all his brothers. He done killed all his brothers. But one had went and hide. His youngest brother. His own selfishness, ways that he want only him to be king. So he killed all his brothers. So in his selfishness, desire, often seek to fulfill them, in ruthless ways. So his ambition, on being a king over Israel was not center of God. You know, his ambition was just to be a king. You know, and that's what Israel now tried to tell him. You have to be the center of God if you want to be over us. Because remember, even though the wickedness that they're doing, God started out with them. They were supposed to be a holy nation. But they corrupt that. But still in all, they corrupt their holiness. God is still holy. For them to be the king over Israel, God had to make that decision, and then he has to be the center of God. And that's what Israel and them had told him. You want to be the king over us, but you have to be the center of God. So God's system of religion was designed to come from attitude of heart, not from calculating a plan and business opportunity. He calculated this whole plan. He talked with them by being a king. But they already know he had 70 brothers. So Israel and them had a choice to make. So he left to Israel, went to his mother house, then went to his father house and killed all 6 or 9 of his brothers. For only him to be the king. So our faith has to be genuine and sincere, based on confidence and comfort and availability. For him to be the king over Israel, he has to be available at all time when God called. Because, God called Moses and Joshua in a time when they had to sit still and listen. And we see he not trying to have God the center of his life for him to be king over Israel. So now they all was near Shammah. Shammah is the city. So they all gathered besides the great tree at the pillar of Shammah, to crown him as king. So he was very ambitious, and he got what he wanted. He knocked everything, and some people like that, they'll just knock everybody. They'll just stop all over people, knock people all out the way to get what they want. To get what they want. So he wanted to be king. Because his father was the king of Israel, but his father was a nice a military soldier. He cared for the Israelite. He was sent by God. He was not sent by God. He wanted to be ambitious in doing this on his own without having God the center of his life to be the king. So Abimelech, he was declared ruler of Israel as Shammah, the site of the other key event. Shammah is the city where they crowned him at that city. So now we see that he got what he wanted. He was very ambitious. He calculated this whole plan. So now Jaham, that's the youngest brothers that escaped. He heard that they had crowned his brother for king. But they don't even know that he done killed all the rest of the brothers for to be king. So he heard that they crowned his brother to be king, the ruler of Israel. Now he climbed up on the top of the mountain, and shouted to them, "Listen, God may listen to you if you talk to God about my brother." So the younger brother, he told a story in a parable of the trees. So he represent his father, the 70 sons, in the turnip bush, represent a Abimelech. So remember, he calculated this whole plan. He was ambitious. Wanted to be the king so bad. But he's not the center of God. He's so worthless person that will be glad to accept the honor, but but down down the line he will destroy the people he ruled. And and so this the story that the youngest brother is telling about the vision. He's telling the story in parables, like Jesus used to do. He's saying y'all made him king, but down the line he gonna try to destroy y'all. The Abimelech, he like he like a thorn bush that could offer Israel no real protection. So he's saying they cannot even offer. My brother cannot offer you no real protection. Because he'll offer Israel no real protection or security. But his father secure Israelite. He took care of them. He protect them and he fight battles for them and he won. To God had to test him. He always to go out with all them men, and then he thought that's on the problem God had. He thought he took all the credit for himself. So the younger brother is telling them this story about the parable of the tree had came true. He's saying it came true that his brother would destroy the city of Shammah, burn it up, and the tower of Shammah will be burned down. And he will do that, and God gonna make sure of it. Because God is quiet right now, but he will be stepping in soon. So the youngest son had told the story about the trees in order to help the people to set good priority that he wanted them to take a look as your appointed to serve the leadership, position. So they should examine the motion. Now this is the youngest brother. Now he telling the Israelites, y'all ain't even examine that. You ain't even check up. You ain't even examine him, doing a background check. Y'all ain't do none of it. This is younger brothers telling him, y'all just made him king. You don't even know that he done killed all the rest of my brothers. Then came back in, y'all just turned around and made him king without checking, do examination on him or something. They didn't do anything. They just made him king when they were supposed to pick among the brothers who they want to be king. But he hurried up and he can knock all that out the way. So the younger brother stated that make sure your priority as you aspire leadership. So this is youngest brother. Just telling them, y'all got to inspire people. You got to examine the situation. Y'all just turn around. Did you ever talk to God? You just turned around and just made someone a king. So have you act honorable and a good faith by making him king. Now have you been fair to his father and his family? Have you treated him as he deserved? So they're saying you really didn't treat him as he deserves, because otherwise she's trying to say he wasn't the right person for y'all to pick, but y'all choose him. So the younger brother is trying to make sure that Israel make the right choice, in making him king, but he also stated, remember that his father fought for y'all. He risked his life, rescue y'all, from the hands of the Mennonites. Now he's throwing all that in the face. See, the oldest son, he wants to take his father's spot. He know all the good things that his father did. His father was a military. He was a hero. God had sent him down to save the Israelite. So his father did a whole lot of stuff. And he trying to step in the shoes of his father, but the youngest brother tried to tell him, he cannot rescue y'all. He cannot protect y'all. He cannot give y'all no kind of security that y'all gonna need. And so he said, also remember my father. My father, had saved y'all many times from the Mennonites, and he risked his life many times trying to save y'all. But today he is saying they have revolt against his father and family. So they're saying by the Israel made his brother king. They revolt his father's name. Because his father was there rescuing Israelites, saving them. So his brother had murdered. So now he's telling them, y'all done made this person a king. You have not examined anything. So let me tell you what my brother did. My brother killed all 6 or 9 of the brothers, and I was the only one that escaped. So this the kind of person y'all had made king when you have not examined anything. But here, he done killed all my brothers, and I done saw with my eyes, and I ran in sin. I'm the only one that alive. So the sons of a single stone and have made him king just because he's related to you. Because see, some of the Israelites related to him, and some of the Canaanites are related to him. 'Cause remember, his father had multiple wives. His father had multiple wives, and his father had multiple wives. So that's why he has 70 children. So that's why, some of his wife was an Israelite, some of his wife was a Canaanite. So that's why he said, I'm related, to y'all. Y'all hired me. So he asked him, have you act honorable of good faith towards his father, towards our father and his family today? If not, let fire come out from him and consume you. So he's saying y'all need to consume, because y'all done made someone a king that he done killed all my brothers. So now, Blameless is Jaham a brother. But he did not want his brothers to be king over Israel. So when he was speaking, against his brother, he fled. Now he done told Israel now everything about his brother in a negative way. Because he done witnessed how he done killed all his brothers. So he ain't had nothing good to say. So after he told Israel everything, his brother did, then he fled. He fled and ran. He escaped to the beard and lived there because he was afraid of his brother. So now his brother had governed Israel 3 years. Now he was a king over Israel for 3 years. Now God stirred up between Abimelech and a citizen of Shammah, so that now he'll see that God about to step in. See, God about to stir things up right now. God sit down for a long time and just be quiet. You'll be like, where's God at? Your God be sitting down quiet. He wait for the right time to step in. So now he's stepping in, because this kind of person had become to be the king. And remember a while back, just the same person that wanted to take Abraham wife when God got in his dream and told him, don't touch that woman. So this is that same person. And this Gudeon son. So God is about to step in, about to stir things up with Blameless. So God did this in order that the crime against Gudeon, 70 sons, shedded their blood. So the brother of Blameless, and on the citizen of Shammah, who had helped him murder his brothers. So he went to they're saying he helped him, so God gonna get him in Shammah, who helped kill them 70 brothers. So that's a lot of brothers, so many brothers for him, but one person to kill all his brothers. At one time, so he was the opposite of what God had wanted, in the judge, but it was 3 years before God moved against him and God fulfilled Jaham parable. Remember the younger son had said a story in the parables to the Israelites, and God made it come true. God had stepped in, and God said, this is the opposite of the person that I want to be judged and over to Israelites. And since the youngest son, had said this story in parable, God made sure it would fulfill. So in opposition to him, these citizens of Shammah had set men on the hilltop to ambush and to rob everyone who passed by, and this was a report to Abimelech. So that's how he had got all 70 of his brothers, and that's why God said, this person had helped him, killed his brother. Because he made sure anyone that passed by, he grabbed him and put him on the side for Abimelech to come kill him. And that's how, because I wonder how he had killed all his 70 his brothers. That's how he had somebody to help him. Every time they passed by, he'll grab him. And he killed all 6 or 9 of his brothers. So now we have Gal. He moved with his chain, and it says put their confidence in him. You know, everybody want to put confidence in their own self. When you supposed to put confidence in God, you know. So Abigail had Jen to put confidence in him. They held a festival in a temple of their God. So while they was eating and drinking, you know, they cursed the blameless. You know, so they cursed them. They put a curse on it. So Gab has stated, if only this people was under his command. You know, so everybody wants to be king over Israel because they know Israel history. You know, they in downfall right now. You know, it doesn't matter they're in downfall right now. They still made history. You know, so everybody they're so anxious to be under Israel. You know, because all the wonderful things, you know, there is history. Regardless of their downfall right now. You know, that's just like a whole lot of other people. You know, it was started out real good, you know, and then have this downfall. But it doesn't matter because that's all we remember. You know, we remember that song from way back. So they're a legend. They're still history. You know, don't it doesn't matter their downfall. They're the made history. Everybody is so quick on wants to be under the Israelite. You know, they wants to be under Israelite. He said, only these people, you know, will under my command. You know, so then he will get rid of abandonment. You know, so he wants to be king and get rid of the brother. Now he was said to Abimelech that call out your whole army. You know, so everybody want him. They already put a curse on it. And now he's saying if he was the king over Israel, he'll move him out the way. You know, so Ziba is the governor of the city that heard what Gab had said, and he was very angry. You know, so he angry because he wants to be the king over Israel. So many they wants to be king over Israel because they know what Israel represent. They represent history. They represent God. You know, all the battles that they won, it was God allowed them to win those battles because when God kept on moving away from them, they were not winning battles. They only were winning battles when God was on their side. You know, so undercover. You know, he sent a message to Abimelech and saying that God and his king have come are stirring up the city against you. And see, that's God doing. Remember God said, I'm about to stir stuff up? You know, so both of your, God will have all your enemies confused and fighting against their own self. You know, so God said, I'm about to stir stuff up, you know, out on the street. You know, and see, that's what he's doing. He said, they're stirring up, you know, in the city against you. You know, so God had sent messages to him, and they try to try a blameless. You know, the men they come and they lie in wait in the field. So they're waiting on him to try to set him up. You know, and then him and his troops they came out from their hiding place. So a blameless said, "Hey, went and hide with his troop. He know everybody after him." You know, so he went high. So now he coming out of his hiding spot. And when Gab saw them coming out from their hiding spot, Blasphemous had pressed his attack against the city until he had captured. You know, he captured it. You know, and he killed some people. You know, so they don't want. You know, they're trying to mess with him after he done killed some people, which was his own flesh and blood. What he think he gonna do to you? You know, so it's his people. Now he did. You know, Then he destroyed the city and scattered salt over it. You know, he scattered salt over it. Now, scattering salt, you know, over a conqueror city, you know, was a racial to symbolize the potential dissolution of the city. Now, it will not be rebuilt for 150 years. That's the purpose of putting the salt on it. You know, so Ablamus heard that they had assembled there him and all his men. Now he ordered his men quickly to cut branches and follow. So he know people is after him. You know, so he trying to come up with something, and they piled up against the stronghold and set it on fire. You know, with the people still in it. And remember, his younger brother told the Israelites what he gonna do at the end. Now this what he done. You know, he said he gonna try to hurt the people at that city, and he gonna burn them up. Now the people's in there. You know, the people's in there in a tower. You know, at Shammah, the city, and about 1,000 men and women also died. You know, cause he burnt them up. So Abimelech had he went besieged it and captured it, in which all men and women, all the people of the city had fled, and they had him. They went to kill all the people who flee and locked themselves in the camp, and they climbed up on the tower. They locked themselves in the tower. So now he about to go up there to kill. And remember, the younger brother said that. He said he gonna kill the people at this city. So y'all made him a ruler, but he gonna try to destroy y'all, and he gonna kill so many people. Now this he trying to do. He trying to the people lock in there, so he trying to climb out there. Climb up down the tower of the roof, so he can kill every last one of them in there. But when he went to attack, let me tell you, this how God is in this. God said he gonna step in. God said, I'm gonna stir things up. He stirred things up on the street. Now that's why he had so many people after him. He had Gab after him. He have another a group of people after him, because things on the street had got stirred up. God had stirred things up. So when he went to go attack all the people that were locked in there, a woman dropped an upper millstone on his head and cracked his skull. So God don't like other. He went to kill all them people up there in that tower. But you had this woman here. This woman killed a Abimelech. So the Israelites saw that Abimelech was dead, and then they went home. You know, so that means when you made somebody king, as soon as he dead, y'all really didn't want to make him king. You probably just was afraid, because soon he was dead, they went home. So God repaid the wickedness that Abimelech had done for his father by murdering his 70 brothers. So God had to step in, because Gudeon God was fond of him. God had called him, to save the Israelites. He did a good job. His mission was complete, and up until he died. And so the son just disregard, his father's name, by just killing all his brothers, because he wanted to be king over Israel. He murdered all 7 of his brothers. He murdered all 7 of his brothers, and God also made the people of Shammah pay for all their wickedness. Because remember, there was every time his brothers passed by, they'll grab and put him on the side for him to kill his brothers. That's how he killed all 7 of them. So they played a part in it too. So the curse on the younger son came on them. So a woman too. Now this woman is something like jail. With Deborah, when I put that one out 2 days ago, God had called her to help out with this other king that was oppression the Israelite. So we see another woman in Judges had killed a man with her own regular tools that she had in the house. So this is the second time in Judges a woman killed aggressive in a conflict, just as Jada had killed Sierra using a familiar tool. And now this woman used a dramatic tool to kill Abimelech when he attacked her town. So this woman was not in fear. She was not in fear, just like Jada. Jada was not in fear. Remember, Jada put that tool on that man's temple while he was asleep and knocked him out. And this woman here had crushed Abimelech's own God. But she staying near the edge. Now he didn't see her. He come to attack her town. So she ran up there. She was like on the edge, and she was hiding. So then she dropped her millstone on his head to appointed moment, and across his skull. So when she ran, from home to the tower, probably thinking ahead to need to continue to provide food for her family, but her act was uncommon to provide the deliverance that she needed to bring him down. So we have a second woman in Judges, that took a tool that she had to kill a powerful man. This was a dangerous man. This man here killed his own flesh and blood. And Jada killed a man, put a tool to his temple. So we see the two women that was not afraid, did not have fear, and took down powerful man. Because the man that Jada took down, he was oppression on the Israelite. And God talked to her, and she handled that commission. And then you had this woman here. He come there want to kill people in her town. The people were stuck in a tower. And he wanted to kill them. And just like the younger brother said, his vision was how his brother was gonna kill these people and burn them up. That's just what he tried to do. And God said, I'm gonna spot to stir things up, and God stirred things up on the street. Talking about him. So you had so many different people coming to attack him. One put a curse on him, one wants to attack him, one went that way, this one went that way. God had to stir things up on that street to have everybody against him. And it all worked out. So when he called himself climbing up there on a tower to try to get the people that was trapped in there, he was gonna burn them all up. But he didn't realize they had this woman just standing on the edge, waiting for him to climb up. And she threw that millstone on top of his head. She must have threw it real hard, could have crushed all his skull. All the skulls, he said, crush it up into pieces. So there was a man had ambition. He wanted to be king over Israel, not knowing to be a king over Israel, you have to have God the center of your life. But God got to communicate with you, with his people. The Israel, his chosen people, regardless how they sin or well, that is his chosen people. God is keeping a promise, for anybody to be a king over Israel, they were supposed to consult with God. And then anybody that wants to be a king over them, God had to be the center of their life. Because they can't just make decisions on their own. They had to communicate with God like Moses did, like Joshua did, Abraham did. You can't just be king over Israel and think you're just going to have your way. It don't work like that. Just like God said, he was the opposite of a person that I will pick to be the ruler of the Israelite. So God gave him 3 years. And then God had to remove. And God also removed, punished the Shemai who helped them kill his brothers. So he had ambition. He had ambition to be a king. And for him to be honest, see, the Israelite had to pick. Because he said, you want all 70 sons to be over you or just one? So the Israelite would hesitate. So that means they wanted to pick some brothers. Pick a brother, pick one of the brothers out of the 70. And so he didn't want that. So he went by his father's house to find out where they at. And he had the Shammai to help him. But every time you see them, let me know. And he was killing them one by one till he killed all 69. Now you are very ambitious. You is very evil when you wanted to kill your own flesh and blood just for a throne. Because they all love the Israelite. They all heard about the Israelite. Then you have the other people coming. They want to, on that there was under my command. I get rid of Abimelech. I get rid of him. So everybody come and they wants to be king over Israel because they are history. They heard all the wonderful things that God did for them. They know if God on their side, they were fighting and defeating all kind of kings and all kind of armies and everything. And they know his father had 300 men and was tearing down a whole lot of army of 230,000 of men. With only 300 men that he had. So that's all I have for you all today. Y'all have a blessed night, and I'll see y'all on the next video.